copy of our marketing plan of what we send out for our marketing plan. Hey, Dave, and it's not very, you look at it and go, how the hell does this dude get a listing? Other than being very pretty.
Loud.
It's not just because I'm pretty. No, seriously, it's the marketing plan, but the actual marketing plan itself, it's not impressive.
If you think about it, everybody's marketing plan is the same.
It is.
We all list your house. We all take pictures. We all have open houses. We all do drones. We all do aerials. Everything's professional. We do all these wonderful things, puts it all on the exact same website as everybody else. It's the delivery and the ability to, I don't want to say convince, but convey that this is what I do. We do it every time and it works. And I know what I'm talking about, not me. Yeah.
Sellers want to know three things. So I know we're kind of skipping around and stuff like that, but
we do that.
That's that problem coming from family 12. And we just kind of go from one thing to the next. Sorry. Sellers only want to know three things. And I used to do two-step appointments. I used to go for an appointment and come back and I'd see their eyes spin. I stopped doing two-step appointments 25 years ago. Sellers want three things. What's my house worth? So you got to be competent at coming up with the market analysis or CMA. Okay. So being very, very good about your market. So my suggestion to you, go out and look at inventory, go out and schedule, go out on Tuesday caravans, go out and schedule some showings, just go look at houses in a particular area.
Quick question, Dave.
Yes.
Dave, I'm sorry, on that quick question.
Yes.
How do you deal with sellers? Because everybody seems to think that their house is always worth so much more than it really is.
To a certain degree.
In general, how do you deal with sellers that are really convinced that their house is worth 20% more than it is?
I very rarely have that happen.
Oh, really?
I've listed over 3,000 houses.
Okay.
How do you do that?
So first of all is when I go into an appointment, a lot of time, again, this is a little unfair too, because a lot of times they're calling me because of my brand, my marketing and things like that. And they've seen I've sold a lot of properties in her. That's my weakness I have to overcome. But oh my God, I'm gonna get that one.
Yeah.
But no, seriously though. So I don't have to overcome the validity, credibility aspect of it. They're calling me to come into their home. So if you have a situation so one of the biggest problems I see with listing agents are the agents that want to buy a listing. And so I'll come in and tell them really what their house is worth. And then someone else will come in and say it's worth $25,000 more. And that can be a problem. But you want to know what the reality is of listings? Guess what the percentage of people that list with the first person they talk to? Yes.
Probably quite a bit.
Give me a number.
Pick one. Trust me, he's not going to let go till you throw something out.
My goal is to show that I'm like the greatest thing since sliced bread and I know everything, and you'll just go, oh my God, he knows. Jokes. But seriously, what do you think that percentage would be? Just throw out a number.
40%.
71. 71% of all sellers list with the first person they talk to. Okay. So here's the thing about value is what we just talked about. They want to know what their house is worth. So how do you determine what their house is worth? You go and you look at competition. So first thing you look at are solds. Okay. So you want to take a radius around the area, stay within the school district and things like that. And you have sold houses. Okay. So what do solds do? Solds are going to give you the range of where that house would sell at. It gives you a range. The next thing you want to do is you want to look at competition, because everything in life comes down to supply and demand. So what you want to do is, what are you competing against? If this house were to go on the market, what would it be competing against at that time? Okay. So if you had the exact same floor plan and they priced it 20,000 below market value, will that affect what this house will sell for? Probably. So solds give you a range. Competition gives you, this is the price we should go at. There's always two main points as far as to what a list price should be. Okay. First one is competition or supply and demand. So if they're the only game in town, would you have a tendency to maybe go upper in that range or lower in that range? Up, yeah, exactly. You probably have a little, whereas if you've got 4 or 5 houses on the market, you're probably going to come a little bit lower. So that's going to affect what part of the range. The second part, which only comes from communication, motivation of seller. How fast do they want to sell? I've had people, and I'm saying I would go here, and they're saying, Dave, we just want to dump this, and we want it gone, and we want to, go the lower price of the house. And you know what? In the market the way it is right now, that's probably a great strategy. We're actually kind of telling people to go a lower part of the range because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the market's going to tell you what the house is worth. And if it's a little bit lower in the range and they're motivated and their biggest thing is speed as opposed to top dollar, all day long go in the bottom part of that range. Okay.
And if for any reason you're still a little high, at least you're not dropping prices, right? Because we know what happens when a price reduction happens.
Kiss of death. Kiss of death is
Price reduction.
your two kiss of death in this market is overpricing a house and having to do a price reduction because we're still in a seller's market in the Ann Arbor area. We're still extreme seller's market. So the kiss of death is if you bring that price down, you basically just admitted you overpriced it, and then the sharks come out. The blood's in the water. Okay. The second one is if you get multiple offers and things like that, and a deal falls through, that can kill all your momentum. And that's when we get multiple offers, we're very, very diligent about the lender and all kind of stuff. And because you're going to lose all momentum at that point, and having to go back on the market. But the biggest problem we run into is if a deal falls through, everybody thinks it's because of the contractor's inspection. There's something wrong with the house or something. So those are things.
Doesn't matter how many times. No fault of the house. Doesn't matter.
But my guess is that every one of you that's new, when you walk into a listing appointment, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
I have a question before we move on from that last
sure.
one, maybe.
You gotta be aggressive like Chris if you want him to stop.
So when you mentioned overpricing the home and then having to drop it and the sharks coming out,
Yep.
what if that's actually your intention? Is that a bad thing per se?
Well, the sharks are coming out are going to be the investors and people like that, and they're going to lowball you and things like that. We much rather negotiate up from list price than down from list price. And that's one of the things, that's one of our strategies is we want to negotiate up. We want to create a multiple offer situation. So things like escalation clauses come into play, appraisal gap language, waiver of appraisals, waiver of inspections, things like that. Those are the types of things we like to see because we want to get, I want to get the most amount ever in that neighborhood, period, end of story. That's our end goal is to get a lot of every last dollar. And having to reduce the price will never get you that.
Following up on that point, David, it's in Los Angeles, I've seen a lot of times where people severely list way below the market value, and then they get like 20 offers or so.
Yep.
Is that a strategy that you sometimes just do just to see how high you can get it?
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because the other part of it too is so let's say you've got a house in LA and we'll just use $1 million. Okay. And
Can you buy a house in LA for $1 million yet still?
If you're lucky.
Okay.
but just to use round numbers, but let's say it's worth $1 million. And someone says, what we're going to do is we're going to list it at 700, or we're going to list it at $800,000, and we're going to expect to get 1.1. I think that's a very risky bet, because you list it at $800,000, and then even if you just get to the 1 million, the buyer's thinking, I just paid $200,000 over list price. The other aspect you have, unless it's a cash deal, which I'm sure a majority of your deals are probably cash, but the other part you have is an appraisal part of it, where the appraiser is going in there and seeing the original list price was 800,000 and it's selling for $1,050,000 or something like that. And what if you don't get the activity? What if you
Just miss.
what if you just listed it at $1 million and you got $1,010,000 or $1,020,000, but you listed 800,000 and they're fighting over it, but you get up to like 950. It's a very risky thing to do, and not something I would ever recommend or encourage.
These are numbers that probably sounds a little funny, because these are numbers we don't deal with. We maybe do. We just $1 million is a big crazy house in our price range, in our world. Something a little different. So when he talks about the difference between 200,000 and 20,000, it sounds odd, but it's this, the principles are there. It just sounds really weird to have you talk about that number. But yeah, it's dangerous. And going back to that diligence, so you've got a whole bunch of offers. If you don't have somebody that's taken like their major contingencies out in that kind of thing, which it's not quite that bad here anymore, but it was. I mean, during COVID in the last 5 years, you couldn't buy a house in Ann Arbor for, without being at least $50,000, $60,000 over. You've got to have everything cleared up, because like Dave said, if it falls apart, and we are super diligent when it comes to highest and best type situations, multiple offers, and that the top dollar is not always the best offer. It is not always the best offer. You've got to look at the whole package, the whole set of terms. If you've got a lender, we pick up the phone unless we know that lender.
No, we pick up the phone now. We pick up the phone
Always.
anyways. Yeah.
We know the lender. We make sure that person is what they say they are, because it's too easy to fake it.
That brings up the idea, or something just came up, the idea of pre-inspections. Because I had an agent when I was selling a house, did a pre-inspection on it that he then passed
No.
on to people looking to. You don't do that?
Mhm.
No. It's one of the few times in real estate where ignorance is bliss. So here's the deal. And this is what I get the question a lot. Hey, Dave, I read a book and it said that I should do a pre-inspection before I do. And I'll say, okay, let's first of all, you're going to pay $1,000 for that inspection, and they're going to come through and they're going to note certain things. And then, so let me ask you, Chris, at that point, if an inspector points something out and says there's a flaw and things like that, does that become an item that they should be disclosing on a seller's disclosure statement?
No, I was pretty upset because it disclosed something that I didn't know wasn't done right.
Well, but should the seller disclose that now?
Now that he
Well,
knows.
has to, but
Yeah, well, you just answered the reason why. Why the hell would you ever do a pre-inspection? And now you have knowledge of different things. And again, I understand you may want to take care of them beforehand, but here's the reason why I don't recommend it. I'll have one inspector come and do their inspection, and they'll say this, that, and the other thing. Then I'll get another a totally separate inspector. We've had this happen on the same house. And they come up with a totally different list of things and not even the original things. So from a disclosure standpoint, should that seller legally have to disclose everything that someone came up with? I don't,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to take that on as the seller, because let's say someone buys the house and they end up calling that inspector and you didn't disclose it. And they go, well, I did a pre-inspection. I told them this, and this was wrong. Do you think that deal's going to stay together? They're thinking the seller is dishonest and deceitful and things like that.
And you,
Yeah,
you're
That
dishonest and
so do
deceitful.
you understand why I think in that situation ignorance is bliss?
yeah, absolutely.
Whether you do an inspection, a pre-inspection or not, the buyer's still going to do an inspection,
Yeah.
and it may come up with a totally different list. And they spend $1,000 on that inspection, and now they have to disclose everything potentially. To me,
This is not to say when Dave or I we go into a house and we walk around it, we check things out. We don't tell people. I mean, we have attics here in Michigan. We have basements here in Michigan. People in Michigan generally don't go in their attic. Nobody goes in the attic. And nobody's been in their attic for 15 years. Well, we have hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold here. We have a wonderful breeding ground for mold. Go in your frickin' attic. Go up there and see what's up there before. It doesn't mean we're gonna fix it. Some things you're gonna fix before. You're gonna fix a dumb broken doorknob. You're gonna fix things before you put it on the market. A lot of smaller things, but I love. Have you been in your attic in the last 6 years? No, nothing up there.
and in Michigan, almost every single one of them is going to have some type of mold.
Something has
And the-
mold.
and the
Just
ins-
deal with it ahead
And
of
the
time.
inspectors, what they're going to say to cover their rear ends is they're going to say there is a mold-like substance. So, so that to me is the biggest crock of shit, excuse my language, out there, because guess what the seller now has? The buyer and the agent here is mold-like substance. So what do they immediately want to do? They want to, well, no, they want to have an inspection of the property. And you think any person that goes up there that potentially has a job to be able to mitigate mold that goes up there, because they're not separate. They don't have just inspection and mitigation. They're all the same company. How many times on my hand, actually I don't need a hand, has someone gone up into an attic and said there's no mold there? Okay. There's a mold in every freaking attic in the state of Michigan. So you're going to find mold. So what is it? So at that point, the seller, the buyer's out $2,500, $3,000, or excuse me, the seller is, once they say mold-like substance. But every single attic's going to have it. Do they truly have anything that's really bad? Doesn't
Coming
matter.
down and taking your breath. And I mean, if you're allergic to mold like I am, you know it. I'm the best barometer. You can walk in any house. Dave's dragged me out of a couple. But it's those kind. You're still going to do a good walkthrough with your seller. Make sure that the silly things, I can close all my cabinet doors. There's no dripping under my kitchen sink or bathroom sink. Just the logical. People don't look under their sinks. I mean, I don't look under my sink. I do because I'm a realtor. I do because my house freezes on occasion on one side. I look under the sinks. Most people don't do that on a regular basis. They don't look in their closets, upper parts of their closets. Just do that walking.
And what she's referring to too, that also is going to give you instant credibility and validity when you walk. So the first thing we do on a listing appointment, you can look if you go back to some of our stuff on YouTube, you can see we have the 5 steps to a successful listing appointment, things like that. And we talk about these things. But one of the things that you're doing is when I go through a house is so when I see something that's amazing and gorgeous, I go, oh my God, that's drop dead gorgeous. Who decided on that? Who came up with that idea? Oh, my wife did. Oh my, mad props to you. Hey, you're lucky. Hey, you got lucky with this one.
Yes, he really is this weird.
And this is amazing. I've been through 5,000 houses. That's off the hook. And I'll say that. But then there's also other things that will be a detriment to them. Tiles that aren't, or just they're not, I mean, they haven't they haven't grouted. They haven't grouted correctly. And there's like hardwood floors that really should be refinished and things like that. I'm going to point all these little things out. And then I'm also going to go, and I've got a list of people that can do all these different things. You don't need to worry about it either. We can schedule all that kind of stuff. But I immediately take control of the situation when I walk into a house. By the time we're done, so I'm already establishing rapport with them, credibility, validity. And so when we start going over comps, that's going to translate to it. And we kind of got off on a
Say we circled all the way around.
We
I
did.
don't know what. Are we in if we're just babbling and nothing is remotely relevant to what you want to hear? Say something.
but the three things again were
I'll get into
what's my house worth? What am I going to net from the sale of my home? Always do an estimation of proceeds. Always do an estimation of proceeds. And what that is projected sales price minus the fees, minus the mortgage, what they're going to net from the sale. What am I going to walk away with? And that's when you're probably going to have the commission conversation and things like that as well. Okay. I very rarely ever have to have commission conversations where someone wants me to negotiate or anything, because I actually go over what they're going to walk away with, and then if they bring up commissions of it, let's hold off on that until we go over the marketing plan. Okay? Because when I go over that marketing plan, I'm the worst closer in the world. I can't close a book. So I use what's called an assumptive close.
You
So
learned that from Sales 101.
when I'm done with that marketing plan, with all the things that I'm going to do for them, and again, that's all been established from the initial phone call where I just take control. And because I don't care if it's a $5 million house, or in LA 30 million, it's a CEO executive, or $100,000 house, every seller wants the exact same thing. They want someone that's going to come in and take that off their shoulders because they don't want a second job. And they want someone that's going to come in that they're just confident that, oh my, yeah. I mean, and that's why it's 71%, because most people can just go in there, and if you show you're knowledgeable, you show that you care, you show that you know what you're talking about, you show them what they're going to walk away with, and I'll always kind of go, how do those numbers look to you? Oh, that's actually more than what I thought. And then I'll say, well, let's go over the marketing plan. And then when I show them all the things that I'm going to do to market their home, but when I'm done, they go, wow. And again, like I said, it's not 3D, it's not a computer, it's how it's presented. And when would you like to start? That's probably my close. When are you ready to get going? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to rock and roll? I do use rock and roll a lot. Are you ready to rock and roll? You ready to get this thing going? You ready to get this puppy going? Seriously, that's my close. Isn't that horrible? Horrible.
If you've done the steps ahead.
Pretty. Anyways.
Did you get your hair done or something?
I did. That was nice. No, but seriously, if you go in there knowing and you know what you're talking about, you want to know. The first time I got asked how long I'd been in the business, that was the one question I was going to ask you, is the one question you were worried about is they're going to ask you how long you've been in the business, how long you've been doing this. You want to know when the first time I got asked that? I was 5 years into the business.
Because he's tall and loud.
No, it's because I was prepared every single time I walked in. I had that knowledge. And being 6'4", 250 doesn't hurt. But seriously, I was always prepared. I was always knowledgeable. If I didn't have the answer, I would tell them, hey, I'll answer every single one of your questions. And if I don't know, I will make it up. And then I'll research it. Now I can use Chat GPT or AI or whatever. But no, seriously. And I use a lot of humor too. Okay. So I'll use the very serious part of Dave, and then I'll also use a lot of humor to deflect and things like that. So if you go in there and there's no reason for them to make another phone call. So I want to give them every reason just to sign that listing contract right then and there. Make sense? What's my house worth? Get good at it. Get good at doing analysis. What am I going to walk away with? If you want to see our estimation of proceeds, shoot us an email. We'll send you that too.
It's really fancy.
It's very blasé, but it's just simple.
Nobody wants you to sit there and fill out a form for 20 minutes.
No,
They
it's
just
it's
want
simple, basic.
boom.
Well, she has one that they'll go over like 30 criteria. I've got one that has 4, and mine will be within $100 of hers most of the time.
I just put the sales
Yeah,
price
because
in and
what-
it automatically does it.
So I'm just going to take an initiative here because I'm not assertive. I'm not. Want to know the best way to get leads or what you should be looking at to get leads to get started in the business? So let me ask you one question. Do you think you should have to get out of your comfort zone and do stuff you don't want to do and to get leads and have to be successful? Do you think you have to get out of your comfort zone to be successful?
I think I have to, yeah.
You think so? I want every single person on this call to answer that.
It depends on what your comfort zone is and how low
But
the bar
yours.
is. But
So if you don't
typically,
want
I
to make
would
for
say no.
sale,
If I don't,
so if you don't want to make for sale by owners and expired calls, you'll never be successful.
not true.
So here's my advice. Okay. And take it or leave it. There is a lot of lead generation techniques out there. Okay. Now, part of this is, can be monetarily, some are not monetarily available to you. Like we'll send out we used to have a 25,000 person geographical farm. I live in a city called Pinckney, Michigan. There's 9,000 residents. For me to send something out in Pinckney, Michigan runs $3,500 for an every door direct mail. I understand not a whole lot of people have $3,500 to send out a mailing. Now, back before social media and AI and stuff like that, I send out that 9,000 piece mailing. Guess how many listings I get from it on average? 3 or 4. 3 or 4.
Clues.
And the average price in Pinckney back then was 300,000. 3% commission, 9,000. 9 times 3, 27,000. So I spent 3,500 to get 27,000. Worthwhile?
Good return.
I didn't have to pick up a single phone or anything like that. I hit 9,000 people with a direct mail. I didn't have to try to call 9,000 people. So
Doesn't work right like that.
not like because social media and things like that. And now you almost have to be popular and it's more of a popularity contest. But here's my advice is find things that you enjoy doing. There's going to be some things that you really enjoy doing. So if you're social, go out and hang out with your people. Let them know that you're a realtor. One of the hardest parts when you first get started is getting people that used to see you as father, brother, electrician, this, that, or other thing, shoe salesperson. That's how I got through college. I sold shoes at Jacques Penney, JCPenney. But that's how I got through college, right? But getting people to view you as a realtor now, you got to get them their mind blocked. And my biggest aha moment in this business was 6 months into the business. My godparents listed their house with another realtor. And I'm like, WTF, right? And I couldn't say that to them because they're very God-fearing people and I'm a good old Catholic boy. But that's what I'm thinking, WTF. And you want to know what their answer was to me? Oh my gosh, Dave, we totally forgot. We didn't even think, and you want to know what? That's a shame on Dave. Shame on Dave moment. Because Dave did not do a very good job of reminding his people, his flock, that he was a realtor. So that was one of my aha moments. So let everybody know that you're in real estate. You don't have to go, get in their face and stuff about it. But what will eventually happen is when you're at a party or something like that, they're going to start coming up to you. Hey, how's the real estate market going? Now I have to avoid the conversations because everybody wants to come up and get advice on real estate and things like that. which I joke about that because my significant other gets on my case because I want to talk about real estate 24/7. But that's going to be a great way for if you have center of influence or if you're an extrovert, that's a great way to get business. Open houses are how I built my business. Open houses, reading people, getting in front of people, and again, did pretty well at it. And I would do everything but sell someone. They drive up in a Lincoln LS or something like that, and I go, "Oh my God, is that the 4-banger or the 6-banger?" "Oh man, it's a 6-cylinder. Do you get the stick shift or the automatic?" And dude, my wife wouldn't let me get the stick shift. Had to do the automatic. Hey, I got the 5-speed. First one since 1972 with the Lincoln Metropolitan. They go, "Man, I would have loved to do it, but I got the munchkins and stuff like that." And yeah, I said, "You know what? Now I'm thinking about that Cadillac ATS stick shift. What do you think about that one?" "Oh my God, Dave, if I could." So we're talking about all these other types of things, and we take away the friction, and then we talk about real estate. But I've already bonded with them. You can do that in person. You can't do that on the phone.
Or social media.
Social media can't really do that either. You want to have meaningful conversations with as many people as you can. Open houses are a great way to do that. And most people are going to tell you that they're a waste of time. They're only to pick up buyers. And I get just as many listings from open houses as I do buyers. And I don't work with buyers personally anymore. But guess who's at an open house almost every Sunday? Yes.
On Real, is there a way you can kind of flag your community that, hey, you're willing to be in there for open houses and do open
100%. And you
Vivo?
get on Work Vivo. Make sure that you're on Work Vivo. Make sure that you're on your state site. The other part that I would do, I'd be proactive about it. I wouldn't be reactive. I would get with my state broker, and I would send out a post on Work Vivo, and I'm seeing those because I get all those posts where, hey, I'm a new agent to Real Broker. I want to hold open all your open houses. We just got one in Michigan for up in the Warren area, but I want to do your open houses. And then find other realtors in your local area too. Reach out to them and say, hey, I want to be your open house person. So you got an open house? I would love to do it for you.
A couple that we do out of our area. We have a team, so we have built-in open house agents.
I was doing 4 open houses a weekend when I first got started.
Yeah, there was a time when you and I did 2 a day.
And I actually started, remember
Okay.
Candy Mitchell? Candy Mitchell, this was my original company, had a bunch of new construction. So I would go do one house from 11 to 1, another one from 1:30 to 3:30 or that type of frame, Saturday and Sunday, and built my business on open houses.
One of the cool things about it, and you usually bring this up, one of the cool things about open houses is, and people are coming to open houses. I mean, we're past the COVID. We don't have to deal with all that. Although, I guess we had a real bad situation here in Michigan over holidays. Didn't know. I stay away from people. If you go into an open house, you don't have to have a touring agreement signed.
So
you don't have to have anything signed to go into open house. So people are feeling much more free about that. And they're not going to get a cost. You got to sign this before I can take you to show this house.
it's the only time when you don't have to do that. So if you go on and schedule a showing on something, you either have to have an exclusive buyer agency contract or you have to have a touring agreement. And so I'm a big take out friction. I don't like friction at all. I like to just take out friction. So open houses allow you to have those conversations without having to, shove a piece of paper in front of somebody. It's a great way.
Something just clicked for me. Can I do open houses for other brokers and other brokerages?
You can, but I would get permission from your broker, your state broker. Legally you can. It's a fine line that I would never take I would be careful because even if it's legally okay, I mean, with how litigious all society is right now and a seller I would not recommend it, but talk to your state broker. And I had those conversations as well. But I would just try to find people that do have business in your area. Okay.
Where are you? You're in California?
Yeah, in the Long Beach area.
I mean,
Well,
I would,
Jason, there's nobody better in the whole world than Jason. So,
but so
I see.
then the other things to think about would be if you own a home and you live in a particular neighborhood, I would be geographically farming that area. I would be farming my neighborhood, meaning that I would send something out once a month just just to let them know that you're in real estate. And we laugh because what real estate is more than anything else, if you want to be in this long term, it's branding. Okay. What you want to do is you want to create a brand and you want to think about what your brand should be. And then what the end goal should be is that, like, let's say in your neighborhood or your geographical farm, every time someone thinks about buying or selling in that area, they think of you. And I call that, being the Kleenex of realtors. So, and what I say about that is, so
I'm allowed to roll my eyes at that.
she does it every time. But so if you ask somebody what, they blow their nose and what are you blowing your nose with? Most times people are going to say Kleenex, right? It's not Kleenex, it's facial tissue. Kleenex is the brand, right? But now people associate facial tissue with Kleenex because they've done such a great job branding. That's your ultimate goal as a realtor, is to whatever your sphere of that you're looking at, and your sphere of influence, they think of you when they're thinking about buying or selling. Your geographical farm where you live, they think about you. But the thing with any geographical farm is you need to be consistent in your branding and also sending stuff out.
Or I mean, we're hitting up on an hour. There's one thing, because I did this with one of my buyer's agents the other day. I don't know if you're all new to real. Y'all seem like y'all are pretty new to real estate altogether. One, on top of Dave's thing here, yes, people care that you're with real when you're talking about attraction to real. They care that you've got to, if you're going to, be real super social media, they care that you're with a technology company. But in general, nobody really cares who your broker is. They care who you are. That was like the Keller Williams rule of the world. Nobody cares who they are. They care who you are. But within real, there is a series happening right now. If you go out and look at it, Agent Breakthrough, Phil Jones, the one on Tuesday really didn't talk a lot about real estate. It talked about things, how you speak to people. Don't practice on your clients. Practice with someone else. That was two things that came out of it. One that came out of something that I heard Jim Harbaugh say the other day. We're in Ann Arbor, so we kind of still think he's pretty cool. That if he says to every one of his people, and I've been doing this and I didn't even know it, is this going to help us win? So whether like he's got a football player that's going to eat a cookie instead of something good for him, is this going to help me win? No, it's going to make you fat and slow. Are you going to go to bed or are you going to watch some more tape? Which is going to make us win? So you can take that for every step of everything you do in real estate. Is this going to help me win? So stop and think about what you're doing. And then that the second part of that, which Phil Jones said, is don't practice on your clients. Practice with people around you. Get in everything you can possibly get in real. Take every class. Listen to Tim Macy, Katie Day. Go to their masterminds. Yeah, I mean, you can come to our mastermind, but it's wonderful. We love it. We love talking directly to people, which you don't get the chance to do in some of those really giant masterminds. You just sit and listen.
But that's also a problem sometimes. I think sometimes it's good to interact.
Yeah, I'd rather you come and listen and do this and talk to us. I'm totally geeked that there's people that will make Dave shut up. I love you guys. But it's like, get in those things. Phil Jones is that's a miracle. He's so good. but it's stuck in my head. I mean, you could know everything. I've been doing this for 35 years. And I tell every one of my buyer's agents, they think I know everything. I don't know everything. And what he said, don't practice on your clients, practice your words, practice what you're going to say before you go. Dave's been doing that same. He doesn't practice on a lot of us, but he's going to need to because the world's changing again on us. He adapts.
But I'm also on these webinars and seminars and things like that. And I've been in the business for a long, long time. I'm educating myself, educating myself. I wake up 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning and I watch seminars and things like that that will help me sharpen my sword. Period.
Yeah.
The day you stop learning is the day you're done. And I'm a big believer in success leaves crumbs. Okay. And the other part would be is that find people that you like the way they do business and it kind of resonates with you. Like there's a guy named Ben Kinney, who used to be with Keller Williams, and he owns every real estate company in the world. But he had this thing called 10 Days of Pain, where he would contact someone three times a day for 10 days, right? That didn't really align with how I wanted to, my golden rule, which is do unto others as you do them do unto you. That's not how I would want someone to contact and communicate with me. But there was a lot of things about Ben that I love and that I incorporate into our business, but there's things that I did not. So find different people that you like the way they do business and just glean, get information from them.
If you joined Ben Kinney's team, he sat you down with a telephone book. 200 calls in the first week. Guy's freaking brilliant. I mean, he's still in my phone from when we were old, but
from Comcast installer to a multi-billion dollar person from Comcast installer.
He was at Rise 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
He's still with Keller Williams, but he was at Rise.
What other questions? I know we're kind of at that 12 o'clock, but what other questions do you think you have? Do you have any other questions that we can answer for you?
Chris is trying to figure out how he's going to get rid of that Seahawks, Jack. Sorry.
Any other questions that you have? I know we kind of rambled, but and then let me ask you a selfish question: is what kind of stuff would you want to hear on something like our mastermind? What would be topics that you'd want to know about that you would like to hear?
I'm so enthused and happy to be able to ask you 2 questions. So for me, this is the perfect.
We have our email addresses. You don't, and if you send us an email and say, call me, we'll call you.
Well, our biggest problem.
We love to talk about real estate.
Our biggest problem is when we put out, this is what we're going to talk about today. It may not be what people want to hear. And like I said, we don't know what people are struggling with and things like that. And what we're struggling with are probably very different because of, where we're at in the business and things. But, full disclosure, we just had one of our worst Januaries in my career after coming off one of the best Novembers we've ever had. So that's the reality of this business. Even for people that have been in the business that shouldn't see that roller coaster as much, we have those too. And and if you ever need to talk, I mean, we're ridiculously accessible. So hey, Dave, I want to run something by you, and hey, I got a listing appointment. This, that, the other. Says what to tell a seller when it says I'm interviewing 4 to 5 agents. Yep, Dimple, you probably don't want to hear my response. It's probably won't be the same as yours. And I'd say, well, I'm sorry. Well, first of all, very rarely does that happen to myself, but I would say you're going to interview 4 to 5 agents. Well, let's just rephrase that. It's probably going to be 3 to 4 is what I would say. People are reading a book when they need to do 4 to 5 agents. You can't tell them if that's what they want to do and things like that. You've got to go in and you've got to set yourself apart from those other agents. And so that's where this comes down to is that Yeah, I remember those days when they would say that. And guess what I would do when I was newer? I would be so prepared, and I would have every bit of knowledge. I would go and I would look up like the house, like a house that sold that was three doors down. I would even look up who the seller's name was at the time. And I said, "Yeah, you know the Joneses house." They go, "Did you know the Joneses?" You know what? I didn't know them personally, but I know that they had this in their house and stuff like that. And they're like, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knew the people. I didn't know. I just looked at their name up. They were the sellers back when it
And
happened.
Zillow on the MLS.
Yeah,
look
if
at
you
the
drop me into
pictures.
Florida today, I would do the exact same thing. Or you drop me into LA and I was on a listing appointment, I'd go look at the comps and I'd look at the seller's names. Yeah, and you know the because mostly people they know each other. They say, yeah, the Joneses sold their house, 6 months ago, and this is what it was and stuff like that. Did you know the Joneses? I've never personally met them, but they don't really go further than that. They go, this person knows my neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's the type of stuff you got. What was that, Dimple?
No, I was saying, yeah, I got it. Like that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's,
So
it there are very few people do that, I will tell you. But
Yep.
that's one of them. But I'm gonna
But,
stomp
but,
on you a
but,
minute.
but
Stomp on you.
one last thing before she stomps on me is that what you all need to understand is that who here thinks they could beat me in a listing appointment if we went into a listing appointment today? Who thinks that they could kick my ass in a listing appointment?
Me, agent.
Very good. Thank you. You all should have raised your hand, said no problem at all. Because what we all want to understand is there's always going to be things that we can do that someone else can't do. Okay. And then,
Yeah.
and let me give you real quick story. And I'll let her stomp on me.
Stomp on you.
There was another, I was going up for a $2 million listing, and that's not my bread and butter, right? And they told me who else they were interviewing, and I knew that this person didn't personally make his feedback calls and things like that. He had his team or his assistants do all that. So what I did is I emphasized, because to me, feedback's the most important things, because at the end of the day, it's what a ready, willing, and able buyer is willing to pay for a house. So, and when a buyer comes and shows your house, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, they're going to show your competition also. We want to find out how that stacks up. So what I told this person is, and I'm personally going to be calling all the realtors myself, getting that information, because there's nothing more important than getting that information from a ready, willing, and able buyer. And that's where the tires hit the pavement. So I go out and get that information myself. I don't leave that to an assistant or anything like that. I never said this person's going to do this, that, and the other thing. But we all have things. And the other part too is, let's say you're competing against me, and right now we've sold all of our listings, but let's say I've got 30 listings and this is going to be your only one. Aren't you going to be able to give that person a lot more attention than I can?
Yeah, yeah.
So what you want to figure out is, again, you don't need to know who your competition is. I never ask, I never care. I just can control myself. Is make sure that you have a kick-ass marketing plan. Okay, what are you going to do, and what are you going to do that's going to be different from these other people? Like you may do a Zillow showcase listing or something like that. If you're able to do a Zillow showcase. Or, I'm going to go through and do door hangers in the neighborhood. I'm going to take 20 aerial photos. This, that, or the other thing is you want to be able to differentiate yourself from the other people somehow, some way. Okay. The other thing is have knowledge of every single house that is sold in that area, everything that's currently on the market. Make it sound like you are the expert, period. And when you go into that appointment, this is how we're going to do this. And I recommend that you restage the house this way. I'd move this here, move this here. Hey, when we walk into a bedroom, there's a big old dresser. I think what we need to do is we need to move this dresser over here and bring this smaller chair over here so it opens up the room. And little things like that, where you just kind of go in and you kind of say this, 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 and this. They're going, "Ooh, dude's taking over. He's taking this over." But little things like that.
You're not sitting at a table in the kitchen with your laptop going through slides about
Uh-huh.
what you do. I don't know if you guys have been around before Sharon. I mean, and he will tell you, it's all about conversation.
Uh-huh.
It's talking to people. It's talking to people, and it's finding out everything and being prepared. As you can tell. And the other thing is, I'm going back to practice, practice, practice. Know what you're going to say. And if you can come in with half as much enthusiasm as Dave has, that it's just, and it's only going to come through confidence, practice, preparedness.
Uh-huh.
That's
Uh-huh.
it.
Sure. Sure. And do in real, do we have any some of the standard slides which is we can use for this like for the practice?
Is there anything in real?
Well, so as far as practicing, now one of the things you may want to do is they just came out with the real listing appointment book and things like that. Sharon's listing appointment book. That's something that you can look at to do.
Watch his videos. Get some videos on it.
Like I said, for me, I have a tendency not to use a lot of those because what I am totally focusing on is the seller and not the eye contact, and just I want the seller focusing on me and what I'm saying and not being distracted by the books and the paper and stuff like that.
As far as it's hard. I mean, for you to find somebody to role play with and stuff. What state
are you in?
Yeah, I'm in California. I have my colleagues over here. I can practice with them.
Get a group going. Get a group going on. You guys, the two of you are in California. It doesn't matter if you're in Florida. Get on Zoom and do some role playing. We did some role playing on one of our last webinars, and it's like, shit, I forgot that's we were talking about. I don't even remember. Doesn't matter.
We ended up role playing something of that it was something I totally did not believe in.
Oh,
and so but I had to role play that I was selling that to her, and by the end he was ready to buy it. But the thing is, role playing, especially in California where you've got so many agents, I would be reaching out to local agents and saying, hey, would you like to get together? And I don't know if you have any brick and mortar offices at all where people will let you use it, or if you just go to a Starbucks or something like that.
It's always fun to role play in Starbucks.
But I would just find some things. And then the other part would be is that especially if you're going after a listing that's exclusive type listing, and role playing with someone that has that experience of a listing like that as well, because marketing a $3 million property and who you're talking to with $3 million, they probably have different conversations. Here in Ann Arbor, it's the same, but in California, I guarantee you it's different. I have the same conversations with a $3 million seller as I do with a $100,000 seller. It's just like, what they're saying too is like dress for success. Do you think that a $3 million client wants you to dress any differently than a $100,000 client? What do you think?
Oh, no, like all the sellers have the main expectation that how quickly you will sell and how much top dollar you will get it,
That's all. Yeah, that's really all they really care about. But the one thing too is that I'll hear a lot of people that'll say, like with my $100,000 Ypsilanti listings, that I shouldn't go in a suit and tie, or not, I never wear ties really anymore, but a suit as opposed to like a polo shirt with some Dockers. Now I'll still wear something like this. A $100,000 buyer wants a professional person that looks professional and everything like that, and that's part of my brand. Part of my brand is this. Whereas
the other part, and is if I used to wear suits and work for IBM and skirts, and don't do that anymore. I mean, I'd look like a lunatic running around Michigan right now. You don't want to do it, but more importantly than anything, be you. You got to be authentic who you are.
Yeah.
And Dave loves to be Mr. Pinstripe Suit. I used to like it. I hate it now. So I broke my ankle last year, and I'll be damned if I'm putting on a set of heels. It's just not happening. So, yeah, be doing you. If you're
Yeah.
sitting in a listing appointment and you got on a tie and you haven't had a tie on in 6 years, how comfortable are you going to be? Are you going to be confident? So
Our top buyer's agent for like 5 years, her standard
Mhm.
getup was a hoodie, jeans, baseball cap, and tennis shoes. Whether it was 3 million
boots.
or 100,000, that was her. And
Mhm.
and you know what? It didn't affect her business whatsoever, but that's what she was comfortable in. So myself,
And that was her people.
I'm much more comfortable in this. So being true to myself, and I don't dress for other
Yeah.
people. I dress so that I'm
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, staying authentic, Jennifer, 100%. I mean, that's the key to this business, 100%. And we all have qualities that will set us apart and make us unique. And and if you go on social media, that's the other part too, is stay authentic, and that's the key to social media. Even though don't take
Mhm.
social media advice from me.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
any other
Sure. Sure.
And if you come up with something and you're going to send an email and I'd like to talk about this next week or whatever, please throw it out there.
Sure.
We love to hear, because we sat here
Sure. Sure.
last week going, oh my God, I've talked to everybody. We've talked about everything. So
we prefer these types of things where you come with your questions, and because we have a fairly wide breadth of, and we don't ever want to assume that what the topic we're going to talk about is going to resonate with somebody. So we'd much rather have people come on with problems that they're having, just so we can work with it, either a particular deal or business in general. So any any
we love
other
if you have
questions?
troublesome deals. We're really good.
Any other questions you have before we sign off?
No, I'm good, Dave. Thank you very
Cool.
much.
Well, you've got our emails right there. We
Sure.
respond to emails just like most people respond to calls and text messages.
Sure. Sure.
So anything you need, just let us know, and any way we can facilitate your business. And it's a cliche at Real Broker where it's we as opposed to I. It really is one big ass family. That's
Yep.
being one of 12 kids. I just, like I said, I found my real estate family after 33 years. So, and we're here to help
Yep.
everybody. All right.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Take
Great.
care.
Great.
Good
Thank you
stuff,
very
Happy
much.
David.
Take care.
Thursday.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Absolutely. Take care.